All right, let me bring in a new clip here. I've got a thruster sound, so I'll just drag and drop that out here. And while that's coming in, we're going to talk about how to control the volume and the panning on an individual clip. And then we'll talk about how to do that with your entire sound project. So right now I'm going to take this in, the thruster sound, and I'm going to solo it by clicking on the headphone button here. Everything else is turned off, and let's just hear this sound. So it's got a very loud beginning, and you can tell if you look at the sound wave there, it's very abrupt. And if I want to ease that sound in, what I'm going to do is adjust the sound envelope. And the way I do that is I go down here to this arrow, and that opens up the track volume by default. And the other option we have here is the track pan. So I'll do volume, and this opens up a separate track down here which controls the volume in this case. So it's set at a baseline here of just what you see is what you get. That's the default setting of sound. Comes in at this level, the 0.0 dB. If I go ahead, and you probably can't see it, but there's a tiny little blue dot here. Let me just click out here and you'll see a bigger blue dot. Every time I click on this line, it creates additional edit points. So I can go here, grab the first one and drag it all the way down to the bottom of the track, and that will make the sound quiet. If I want to delete one of these edit points, just click on one of them and hit delete. And what we'll see is we'll get, I'll exaggerate this, a fade in, so the sound will start at 0 and then come up to its full volume here. So here we go. So that's a fairly long fade in. I can also do a shorter fade in, which will bring it up much quicker. Like that. And I can do, of course, a fade out. So I could bring this in, click another edit point here, drag that down to the bottom, and I've got a fade in and a fade out. So just to point out, this fade in and fade out is only for this particular track. So it will have no effect on our screeches or thunder sounds up here. It's only for this particular track. Each one of these tracks has its own volume, so that I could go back and edit each one of these individually. All right. So just for one more thing we can do, let's go up here to the thunder, and let's turn off the solo button here. And maybe we'll mute that. And there we go. If I play this back now, we have something like that. And I know you can't hear very well, so apologies. Let's try a pan now. So the default is track volume, but let's do a track pan. And the track pan basically works the exact same way with these edit points, except you're going to be going from left to right. So if we go all the way down, that's, and I can't remember which is which, that's going to be panned that way. And so what we'll do is we'll get the illusion of this sound moving across our headphones if we're listening to this on the headphones. So I'll actually solo this and hit play. Yeah, it sounds like it's moving from left to right. So down must be left and this must be right if my speakers are set up correctly. Though I might also be wrong on that. I defer to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Patel. All right, so that's how you do a pan, and this is how you do a volume adjustment. And the last thing I wanted to show you in GarageBand is how to adjust the overall track. So if I turn all of these back on, turn off the solo, and want to adjust the entire track volume, what I could do is go up here to track, show master track. The master track will show up down here, and it's by default set to master volume. And so I can pan this whole thing in, or fade this whole thing in, and fade it out if I want. I'll just have a goofy edit here. And let's listen to this. So this will affect all of these tracks. So nothing, up, and then immediately back down. And then the entire, all the tracks are silenced by this point. All right, well, I think that's about it for the editing portion of this. And the last thing I'll show you in the last video is how to export your files.